oh boy, is it game day week.
Boy, it's game day week.
On Sunday, we get to watch an ass whipping of epic proportion and get to talk about it on Titans Talk Back. But this is football and other F words. And Sunday is Sunday. Today is Thursday. And we got a game to preview, even though it's all pointless and none of it will matter because the Titans are not going to win this game.
I mean, life is meaningless anyway.
Yes,
so.
I would agree. Okay, like, here's my thing. I ignored our chat yesterday on Wednesday talking about, because we were talking about how you should take Broncos minus 8.5.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I think it moved up to -9. I
checked earlier. I placed my bet earlier, and it was still 8.5.
And the chat, of course, they have to overreact to everything. Why you guys hate the Titans? Quit glazing the Broncos. Titans, blah, blah, blah. They shouldn't even play. And all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. One team made the playoffs last year.
10-7.
The other team drafted Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the worst team? I mean, it's the team that just did all that and then has a turnover rate of 52.4% on their roster.
Yeah. And
it's not the team. The good team is the one with the arguably should have been in Rookie of the Year running.
Yeah.
Okay. Who went to the playoffs, who had the Defensive Player of the Year, who has the defense that led the NFL in sacks, who has the defense that led the NFL in pass breakups, who probably they had 3 pick sixes, forced fumble return for a touchdown, a safety. It may be that team.
Yeah.
That just extended all their good players.
Which, by the way, they have a lot of. They have a lot of good players.
Yeah.
It's a well-built team from the trenches out.
It may be the team with the Super Bowl winning head coach.
Yeah, some experience in the NFL.
Just saying, it's not some crazy take to say, likely the Titans are not going to win this game.
How much of this do you think is like the Bo Nix draft bias, where people said he wasn't worthy of being a first-round pick and that he sucked and nobody's afraid of him? How many people do you think are kind of harking back to that era and didn't go actually watch Bo Nix in 2024?
Let's be honest. After watching a Titans game, are you going to go watch an afternoon Broncos game?
I mean, I did.
Well, I mean, but like, speak as the general person.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
No.
So, like.
Where's your team spirit, though, Zach?
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is like, let's be realistic. Just because they're going to lose doesn't mean they aren't going to gain something from this for later on down the road.
I'm excited about the matchup, man. I mean, this is like put up or shut up territory where we've had this, it's been all kumbaya all summer long. We've been getting all the quotes from this team. They've looked good in practice. They've flashed in the preseason. That's all well and good, but man, it's go time. It is, and this is the big dance, man. Like this is musical chairs, all right? And it's you and one other person.
Right.
And it's kill or be killed. I don't know how y'all play musical chairs, but
a lot of stabbing.
Murder. Yes. But the stakes are high is what I'm getting at. And this is the best defense in football. I am stoked to see how much progress this Titans offense has truly made this summer. And this is going to be a great barometer right out of the gate.
If you already hate the discourse around the Tennessee Titans against the Denver Broncos, you're going to hate next week. And you're probably against the Rams. And you're probably going to hate roughly 12 games this year.
But we're going to have a lot of fun.
They're going to have a lot
Colts
of fun.
Game.
The problem is that this is a team that has proven that it can't win on the margins. Right? So Brian Callahan ranked 32 out of active head coaches in covering the spread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just think about that. He covered the spread on 11.8% of the games played last year by the Tennessee Titans.
Practically 1 out of 10 games.
The 31st ranked head coach was also a first-year head coach, Mike McDonald, who was 40% and some change, like 40.4 or something like that.
What, 29?
Yeah, that's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're just dealing in facts. If you guys want to deal in like hope and kumbaya, then go find somewhere where you may have recorded the 2019-2020 seasons, and there's your hope.
Yeah.
We all, the media all understands, okay? We all understand this is a rebuild year.
Yeah.
That has somehow gotten lost in translation the closer and closer we get to the season. You're talking about a rookie quarterback who in the preseason had 5 out of his 7 drives in a 3-and-out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have 3-and-outs against the Denver Broncos. We have a rookie punt returner and kick returner. You can't have muffed punts and bad decisions on special teams and beat the Denver Broncos.
Penalties.
We have an aging, often injured cornerback that is likely going to get attacked because he hasn't played football since the 2 weeks after the Monday Night Football game in October of last year.
Oh, boy.
You're not going to beat the Denver Broncos. Like, it's okay to admit this team is not going to beat the Denver Broncos. In fact, I would almost venture to say, Stoney, that most of the people complaining about us now were complaining that the NFL gave the Titans a really tough schedule. Why did that change? You have not seen anything that should have made that change this offseason.
They watched the preseason, and they were like, my God.
My God,
to
those
the moon.
3-and-outs. Let's go. And listen, there's a lot to take away from Cam Ward that is positive.
Yeah,
but
I
not
agree.
Suddenly going to beat and just run all over and pass all over and not fall for any misdirection or post-snap trickery from the best defense in the NFL kind of stuff.
Yeah. I listened to 3HL a little bit earlier today, and Greg Cosell was on, and Brent asked him, like, what is the pathway for a Titans victory? And for one, Greg had to sit there for a minute and think about it. And for another, he brought up tempo and the Titans being able to control the clock. And I told you, as we were sitting getting ready for this show, like, anytime you bring up, like, well, let's hope they can control the clock, it means you're outmatched.
Yeah, hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy. So, I mean, I don't think it's – and my issue is, like, I don't think it's a bad thing for them to, like – I don't think they should be expected to win this game. I think if you're expecting them to win this game, you are setting yourself up for heartbreak, because this is a really talented team. It's on the road in a hostile environment. You factor in the altitude. Slay was on 3HL talking about that earlier today. Like, the altitude is a real thing. So if this offense...
Which is a little interesting because Coach Mack would disagree.
Really? Oh, I didn't hear that.
He only thinks that the altitude really affects the kicking of the ball.
Oh, did it? Why is that?
He just doesn't think it's a real thing.
This is why we need.
And Cam Ward also said, "I've played in Denver before, played in Colorado. It's very interesting that now, I can't remember where Blaine really fell on the altitude issue.
Yeah,
I think this altitude thing may be kind of like the heat. It's like maybe for some players it's a deal, for some it's not. But in reality, it's probably not that big of a deal. I mean, I walked around in Denver just fine. I mean, I wasn't running or anything.
You're a
but like,
world-class athlete.
Well,
So,
look at me.
I mean, come on.
You look at me.
Not all of us can be that way.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. You hear a lot of people that are like, yeah, I had to grab the oxygen mask on the sideline. So, I mean, maybe it is just one of those things where it's like certain players struggle with it and certain players don't. But I still think if you would choose opening week contest,
right,
you would probably rather not have to.
You'd rather go to like Jacksonville or something. Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah, something like that. So, I mean, to me, I'm excited about it because I think it's an opportunity for us to see where this team really is,
right,
stacked up against what I think is one of the better rosters in the AFC. I think the Broncos are going to win the division this year. I'm stoked to see how Cam Ward, from a mental standpoint, like, answers the bell, rises to the challenge. Like, how does he handle it? If he makes a mistake, does he fold? Like, now that the live rounds are flying, there's plenty to be excited about.
Right.
But if you're criticizing our analysis because we're not
lying to you,
yeah, that's a different thing. You might want to find a different show.
Well,
not that
I don't know if you're ever going to find another show, because if any show right now is fluffing up the Tennessee Titans.
That's what I'm trying to.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what podcast, what TV show. If you are listening to someone telling you the Titans have a real good chance to win it, they're fucking morons.
Yeah, and I to be clear, I do think there is a path to victory for the Titans, but you start getting into these things where it's like, okay, they have to do something uncharacteristically compared to what we've seen them do under Brian Callahan before here. They got to do it there, and then they need this, and then they need that, and then they've got to do this. And you start compiling the list, and you realize, okay, yeah, they can win this game, but they need a lot to happen.
And the Tennessee Titans are not a team that have typically had a lot go their way in any kind of games.
Yeah.
Even under Vrabel, some of those games he struggled against really shitty teams that he shouldn't be struggling against.
Maybe Cam Ward has broken the curse, though. Maybe it's going to swing the other way.
I mean, we'll see. We're going to see for the first time a full game of Cam Ward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what that looks like. But either way, I think the biggest takeaway is how competitive are they? And did they minimize enough mistakes that say, okay, the Rams are coming to you across from the West Coast, which is typically a huge advantage for any team on the East Coast, and vice versa, obviously. When you travel that length of time, that distance, usually advantage for the other team. If that happens, okay, maybe the Rams present a different matchup that maybe Cam Ward could take advantage of.
Yeah.
And if not, at least we have a baseline of, okay, here's what Cam Ward looked like against Denver. Here's what Cam Ward looked like against the Rams. These are likely the two best defenses he will face all fucking year.
I would bet money on it.
And then now you're like, okay, now these other games, we can ponder the thought of, okay, the Titans are underdogs, but here's a clear path to win because here's what we saw in these other two games where they were clearly outmatched.
Exactly. I told you when we were sitting there, I think, and I don't want to say an ideal outcome. I think a likely best case scenario kind of outcome for this game is the Titans look like a new team to start the game. And this thing goes to halftime like 17-0 Broncos, but then maybe it finishes 24-14 Broncos or something like that, where this team shows something they haven't shown before and fights through that second half, doesn't have the second half collapse that we've seen them have so many times. Like show a little bit more.
Feels like a decade almost.
Prove yourself more capable of not kind of folding to the lead, because I think they'll be outmatched early on in this game, and I kind of want to see how they respond.
Well, you not only do you have a rookie quarterback, and you now have a rookie wide receiver who has not shown much of in the regular season.
Can run.
Supposedly, allegedly. He literally can run.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he goes anywhere in a spot. But the team is like, hey, he's been real consistent in practice. Okay. I haven't been in practice in 2 weeks. Must have been those last 2 weeks after the preseason was over.
They said Zach's not here. Let's show the IM.
Well, there was the one. I think he had a one-handed touchdown grab or something in one of the practices. The first practice I missed that week, and now it was like on a Saturday or Sunday or something. That's when he decided to show out. So, but you have a rookie there. You're gonna likely have a rookie tight end playing some considerable snaps. Not tight end one snaps, but he's gonna be playing considerable snaps. You got an offensive line that hasn't really had all the cohesiveness that you need.
Yeah.
Well,
they
at least would want.
Gotten a lot of reps together with all five of them.
Right. That cohesiveness. And so we'll see. Like, this is a pretty dang good defensive front.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, I think
and it's going to take secondary.
I think it's going to take time for it to kind of come together for this team. And I just want to see, like, once they do settle in, how do they respond to going up against this team?
Yeah. I think Todd Apple put it best on the YouTube
Todd.
chat.
I love Todd.
He says, just compete.
Just compete.
And Cam
there we go, Todd.
looks the part. That's all I'm asking
My
for.
man.
Okay,
Todd with the
so
wisdom.
So I mean, obviously like last year, the Bengals lost to the Patriots
Yes.
in Week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now we obviously know that those were two totally different teams. So Week 1 things can happen that are crazy, right?
Week 1's a liar.
And you don't really want Cam Ward coming out of this game looking like Caleb Williams did last year.
Yeah.
But if you find a good middle ground where he threw for maybe over 200 yards, may not get a touchdown, but maybe he's got one interception. Bo Nix didn't throw a touchdown through his first 2 games.
Yeah. And we know how great Bo Nix is.
But as long as he competes, that's all that matters.
I'm with it.
I think that's the best way to look at it. Okay, look, if they lose by 10 points, they lose by 10 points. They lose by 14 points, they lose by 14. That's likely going to happen regardless of anything, right? Like, they're going to lose this game. If they win this game, that is definitely, I know that there are going to be people doing victory laps in the chat, and then they're going to just, be like, well, you said that they were going to lose, so they're going to beat the Rams too. Week 1 is a liar.
Yeah.
Patriots beat the Bengals last year, which was the better team.
The Bengals.
Yeah, it wasn't even fucking close.
Yeah. Well, the Patriots lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
Last year,
so by that math, the Titans should have beat the Bengals, but they ended up losing by like 20 points to the Bengals or whatever it was.
Yeah, and it wasn't enough for Joe
Burrow. It wasn't
Burrow.
enough for Joe Burrow. So, I don't know.
What Todd said rings so true.
Yeah.
It's so simple. Like, you just want to see him compete.
Because competing is for the whole team, too, right? Like, you want to see the whole team fight and stay in it till the end. That's been the whole theme of this kind of offseason, is that it's us against the world. We're a family. We've done all these exercises and all this kind of stuff. But still, this team sucks. It is talent deficient.
I mean, they got to prove otherwise.
Yeah, they have to prove otherwise.
Yeah, that's the hole that they dug themselves in last year.
Just real quick, let's do a little stat cleanup. You want to do a little stat cleanup or maybe stat dispelling? No, stat cleanup.
Stat cleanup. Okay.
What do you think?
I'm just along for the ride.
So Eugene commented, shout out to Eugene.
Love Eugene.
Love Eugene. He commented, Nix was 38th to 39th quarterbacks in EPA per dropback while under pressure. Nix completed a lot of useless passes. 35th of 36 quarterbacks in success rate for completed passes. Can Titans Wilson game plan this, and what would that look like? Shut down downfield passes, generate pressure somehow. So the bad news is Titans defense don't generate pressure. That's not their thing. So I got different numbers than wherever Eugene may have gotten these numbers. I went to Sports Info SIS.
Yeah.
And got one of my many. Every time, it's literally like $2,000, $3,000 to pay for it.
Don't be giving away secrets on the air.
But I just saying, I create a new email address every time and get a 7-day free trial.
There you go.
So I came up to different numbers. Bo Nix in my with where is it at? Oh, you stupid Excel! I shouldn't have used Excel.
I hate Excel. Excel's the bane of my existence. I've been teaching old people to use Excel all week.
Is this it? Nope. Where are you? Here it is.
We got numbers on the way.
So, according to EPA per attempt on pressures, Bo Nix would have been 20th. Okay? Now, if you had deleted guys like Justin Fields, who only played 5 games or 6 games, wherever it was, Aiden O'Connell, and Tua, who didn't play a lot of games either, that number, of course, he'd be 17th or whatever. So I didn't get that part. And then, but here's the thing about all this, about the CPA per attempt, this pressure. Bo Nix, when you go to PFF and you say, hey, let's get this down to people with 125 pressure dropbacks.
Yeah.
Minimum quarterbacks. He's the 3rd least pressured quarterback.
Didn't face the guy.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Got a good fucking line in front of him.
Yeah. So, like, to me, it's like, I mean, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to find the hope.
Well, and that's what
right?
I got to you, like the core of the question is like, okay, well, how do they generate a rush?
Yeah.
I mean, the principle The principle is
Go put money in the collection plate that Sunday.
a lot of quarterbacks are worse under pressure.
Oh
than
yeah, there's
otherwise.
not one team that's not one quarterback that's better under pressure than he is not under pressure.
And I think, like, yeah, we've talked about it on the show before. Is like they've talked about getting creative with the blitzes and sending pressure from everywhere, and it's all well and good, but you have to get home and you have to affect the quarterback. And I don't know that they upgraded the room enough for us to believe they can be successful in doing that with the pieces that they have.
Yeah, it's
and that's the root issue to me is like, I don't know that they're built to generate pressure on anybody.
Right. I mean, like I guess that's kind of where I'm at, right? Is that we know that this team.
Oh, they need another cycle. The season hasn't even started. And
I mean,
I'm
Bo
already
Nix
saying
had a 13.3 pressure to sack ratio. He had 181 pressures. And now, remember, he had 646 dropbacks.
Yeah.
And 24 of those 181 were sacks. He was sacked 24 times.
Yeah.
The only people sacked less than him were Josh Allen, Jordan Love, and Lamar Jackson.
All pretty damn good offensive lines, too. And not a lot has changed for Denver's offensive line this season.
So for me, it's like, I don't think that Cam Ward's in any danger of being ruined. I don't think that this is a big indictment if they go out here and lose. Now, if they lose 38-0, that's a totally different story that we'll have to really dive deep into that.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I can't find, outside of a Cam Ward miracle game, like a Marcus rookie game, a Will Levis rookie debut game where they throw for 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and are playing the absolute most perfect game against not the Atlanta Falcons or the shitty-ass Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the time, but against one of the premier defenses. I don't see the path. And it does that. I don't think that makes any of us on the radio, any of us analyzing the game, unfair or bad analysts.
No,
we're just being honest.
No, I mean, shit, if they pull that off and it's like, remember the Titans, it will be like a fucking Disney movie.
Yeah.
It'll be a storybook
Angels
ending.
in the outfield.
Angels in the outfield.
Angels on the field, gridiron angels, literally moving people's parts.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't. It's such a tough matchup. And the way this Denver defense, 1, bodies up at the line of scrimmage, and 2, plays coverage behind it, those are both things that are very difficult for an offensive line. Like, you got to be good to win those matchups against the horses that the Broncos have, no pun intended. And then the way they play coverage, I mean, I don't know. I don't know of many college defenses that are running coverage schemes like that. So you start digging into the matchups, and it's really hard to find any advantage for the Titans. And that's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Is that they're still – the Denver Broncos are a couple of seasons ahead in their rebuild from where the Titans are.
Right.
The Broncos are in the process of arriving. And the Titans aren't there yet.
Because technically it was year 2 of the rebuild because they already started rebuilding before they got Cam Ward. And the problem is Tennessee Titans didn't. I mean, let's just be honest. Whatever happened last year was just a complete and utter disaster because not only did they flip over 50% of the roster last year, they did it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that tells you everything about last year. Like that was basically them building on a cliff, the cliff falling off, and they're like, okay, well, we got to find new land to build on.
Yep. That's what it was. Exactly. Do we want to talk about scenarios where maybe the Titans win? Like, what?
Do you have one besides the miracle game?
I wrote down some stuff.
Okay. Well, here.
But I didn't know if you wanted to bring it time out and talk about it later.
Well, let's pause right now. Here is your moment of positivity from Stoney Keeley on how the Titans can win on Sunday. This is what you've all been wanting. Here he is. The guy who said Van Jefferson wide receiver one
I
and
never said
red
that.
zone sucks is going to tell you why the Tennessee Titans. Here's your positivity.
I did say red zone sucks. Well, I didn't. Did I say it sucks? I don't care about.
I'll
red
scroll.
Zone.
I'll scroll up.
That's
and look.
that's the real feeling is I don't give a shit about red zone. It's too much to keep up with.
We got it in print, so you go ahead and talk.
I never said Van Jefferson wide receiver one though. I think you're just gonna fucking laugh at me. Y'all are gonna make fun of me for saying this. They've talked about wanting to be a physical team. And I think
you did say literally red zone sucks.
Red zone. Well, I hate red zone, so
I mean
that tracks. I try not to say stuff sucks.
Yeah.
But I say it all the time.
Yeah. You failed on this one. It really set me off. Mom and Dad are fighting about that. We haven't talked about it yet, though.
It's just too I can't relax when all that's going on. I like to get into a game. You find like a coach that gets into a rhythm or like an offensive line that hits its stride and they're just blocking shit up. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, wait a second. The New Orleans Saints just threw a 40-yard bomb. Let's go to that game instead. And I'm like, I want to watch the other fucking game. It's crazy. I got into a rhythm with it. It's the story, people. It's substance. They've talked about physicality this summer. I think if this defense is going to be a five-man front to create one-on-one matchups with the offensive line.
You're talking about the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos defense. They want to put 5 men up there, make the one-on-one matchups or force the one-on-one matchups, and then they've got the guys that can win those one-on-one matchups. I think it's time for the offensive line to answer the bell. I think if they can start winning some of those one-on-one matchups, then maybe it flips the tide. Maybe they can run the ball a little more effectively, wear that front down. Maybe they lose a little bit of juice late in the game, and maybe they use a guy like Khalil Mullings, a guy like Julius Chestnut as a battering ram. You're trying not to fucking laugh.
I'm trying not. I'm sorry.
But if they can be physical, then maybe they do have a chance to wear down the Denver defense, and maybe they do. Maybe they are able to control the game, keep the Broncos offense on the sideline.
So it's what you're essentially saying is run game.
Run game, yeah. If they can run the ball. Now, I went back and watched the Buffalo Denver playoff game. And
now I'm just laughing because now I'm thinking about you saying that, catching me laughing. So now I'm just I can't stop it.
I went back and watched that game. Buffalo ran a lot of zone. And a lot of duo. And those things, depending on the aiming point of your running back, those can look kind of similar. And it felt like Joe Brady was calling his ass off. And I don't know, Vance Joseph just uncharacteristically vanilla. Like just did that
future
defense.
Titans head coach Joe Brady.
I thought you were about to say future Titans head coach Vance Joseph. Just didn't have a whole lot of teeth. So I don't know. It kind of felt – I hate to just assume this and say this about someone, but it kind of felt like he was a little scared of this Buffalo offense in a way. And so what they were doing was zone runs to the side, get the defensive line moving, creating the cutback lanes or bouncing it outside. And when Denver adjusted to that, Buffalo just lined up and ran power, kicked out the end man, and ran right by him. Masterclass in run game. And running the duo, the gap concepts in the middle, made it seemed like it was kind of difficult for Denver to decipher what their run game was actually going to be. And they were able to run the ball. It's easy for us to say, just do what the Buffalo Bills did. The Buffalo Dills. I almost called them the Buffalo Dilfs for some reason. It's easy to say, do what Buffalo did, but the Titans don't have proven offensive line play like the Buffalo Bills do. So, and Vance Joseph's probably not going to be calling the game like he's terrified of this Titans offense.
Yeah.
But I do think that's an area where we've heard him talk about, like Brian Callahan's on the Greenlight Pod talking about their mid zone. Jackson Slater sat on the couch and talked about the wide zone. We know it's in the playbook.
Yeah.
We know they've been working on some duo concepts as well. And Brian said on Greenlight, like, they've got every run in the book. So I'm spitting all over the place. I feel bad for whoever has to clean up, but I'm passionate about this. I think if they can do that, if they can apply some of those runs, maybe sustain some drives and avoid some of those 3-and-outs, they might have a puncher's chance. And it might lead to some of the explosives, which I talked about.
Yeah.
Like Denver likes to drop into single high cover. It's not a whole lot, but it is more than I think most teams like to. It's an aggressive scheme. I mentioned like they put 5 people up at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes it's a defensive back that's up there. And if Cam Ward is able to kind of read those shifts where they show you the shell pre-snap and then post-snap, it's something different. If they drop one safety to the middle of the field and you have an opportunity at the sidelines, I think Cam has shown an ability to recognize those plays and throw those passes, because we saw him do it to Elikai Manor in the Bucs game, and the pass was almost picked off. So, yeah, those opportunities are going to be few and far between, but you got to hit those when they happen. And if you can get an explosive play or two, it might keep you in the game. I also think that they could run some running back mesh stuff, which I wrote about over the summer at Stacking the Inbox. The weakness of the Denver defense seems to be the middle of the field, the linebackers. We also don't really know if Dre Greenlaw is going to play. Mesh is something that I think causes conflict in the linebackers, and that's just receiver on each end of the formation. They cross. They go like 5 yards or so, and then they cross. It confuses the linebacker.
It's fantastic on NCAA 25.
Oh, there you go. The Titans had a nice wrinkle in 2024 where they ran the mesh concept, but with it, Tyjae Spears was shifted in to like an inline position to look like he was going to block, and then he chipped, and he actually ran a route underneath the mesh concept. Now, it was busted all over the place because you're running mesh with, I think it was Traylon Burks and Josh Wiley at the time, and nobody could separate. They're running into each other, and the play didn't really go for much yardage. But with all of the focus of the linebackers on the mesh concept, you get the ball to that running back underneath. There's nothing but green grass in front of him because that's not the focal point. So I think that could be a successful explosive play, or maybe in the red zone. That could be an option to score a touchdown off of that. I think there are things that they can do, but I don't,
we shouldn't have blind faith that this team is going to make everything that you're doing happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're sitting here, I just listened to you do a sermon.
Okay.
I'm not putting money in the collection plate. Okay. Great sermon.
I
think there's a lot of takeaways and a lot of lessons from it that I learned. But I'm like, I don't know if this is the church for me right now.
Well, I mean, it's all dependent upon them controlling the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
And being able to run the ball. And that's like as a base thing.
Ed Henry heard all that and placed a bet on the Titans +9. So you're going to owe money on Ed Henry.
Shit. Ed, the Federicis is on me next time.
Yeah,
if that doesn't come
Coach Will says, thank you, Stoney, for bringing joy to us on a Thursday.
I try, Coach. Shout out to Coach.
There you go.
While we're talking about path to victory, and this is part of, I just wish we could get Coach Mack. I wish we could get him on the couch and just sit and teach us about football. He said something on Cover 2 this week that was so fascinating to me because of all of the questions that popped up out of his answer. He talked about how Sean Payton is going to throw the kitchen sink at Denard Wilson on the first 15 plays of the game. He mixes up his personnel groupings. He mixes up his formations because he wants the defense to declare how they're going to play against certain formations. And so my question out of that would be, is there an opportunity for Denard Wilson to maybe do some bluffing? Like, is that something that coaches can do here where it's like,
he could if he was good.
It's you show a look that makes Sean Payton think this is how they're going to play our 12 personnel. But when they actually go out in 12 personnel on ensuing drives, you're in a different look. Like, is there an opportunity for a little cat and mouse there, or is this just going to be the mouse being fed to the cat? I don't know.
I think Tom's catching Jerry.
Let's
weekend.
get Denard Wilson on the couch.
Yeah.
Ask him.
Ross, did you say you had something?
I had an add-on to Stoney's talk about mesh because I love mesh personally as well.
Mesh fucks.
The Titans ran it against the Jets last year, I remember, out of bunch, and I was going to add on talking like about running it out of bunch because I think bunch is such a great formation to see what a defensive coordinator is going to do in the game. If you catch them in man and bunch, like on a mesh play, defense is in hell.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to say is I would love to see the Titans hit a couple reverses or screens kind of early
Ooh.
with Chim, with Ridley, whoever. Just get that defense.
That would be
moving.
great.
No, this team is the worst screen team in the NFL. Second
But,
worst last year.
Hold on.
And they were terrible in preseason. No
Reverses,
screens. Okay,
Well, hold
I'll
on.
admit on the reverse.
Hold on. Mojo
No screens.
Rojo said he'd like to see them hit some screens.
Yeah.
So if they hit the screens, yes, that's an effective move against this defense. Buffalo did it a couple of times.
I'm just saying, get them moving a lot.
Yeah. I would agree with the reverses and stuff, but this team should any play that has a screen on it should be thrown into the trash.
The faith in their ability to hit the screen may be questionable, but
Yeah.
if they hit the screen, they can find success against this defense.
Was it if and buts and squirrel nuts or something?
I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
What's the play they ran at the end of Remember the Titans? Let's run that.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I try not to watch shitty movies.
Ooh, remember Titans shitty movie?
I'm just being spiteful at this point.
I mean, it sounds
I'm just riling people up. I watch it every year.
Do you?
It's a fall rotation
Yeah.
for me.
I mean, just this Denver game. I'm just not going to, I guess, overreact one way or the other. Win, loss, blowout, loss. Unless it's like a really dreadful blowout loss. Because I think that tells you more about this team. If it's a blowout where you're losing like 48-14,
Well,
that tells you a lot about this team.
The fear for me is that if it is a blowout loss, how does that deflate all the good vibes that they've built up all summer long? How does this team respond to it? Because you and I said last year, we never got the impression that nobody was trying.
They just couldn't do it.
They just couldn't do it. And I still wonder from a mental standpoint how that sort of thing wears you down. Because if me, that's right. If it's me, if I'm not good at something, I'm pissed. I suck at flip cup.
Yeah.
I once punched a wall in my log cabin. I think I broke a bone in my hand because I could not get the hang of flip cup. If you ask me to play flip cup to this day, I will say, no, I'll watch y'all play, but I'm not going to play because I'm not good at it.
Why aren't you good at it?
I can't get it. I can't get it down. I don't know. I think I'm too gentle with my fingers, you know? Like I've got too much touch. I can't just get the right flick down.
You just can't get that flick.
I'm too I'm too smooth with my fingers.
Have you seen the clip of Art Smith on the sideline doing this?
Yeah, I have. But my point is, like, I suck at flip cup, and I'm ruining my day, and I'm ruining the days of everybody around me.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what losing football games in that fashion is like, especially when you're coming off of a 3-14 season. You've had all this good, positive stuff in the summertime, and then you just completely combust on the first game. I'd be swinging helmets in the locker room.
I will say this: there was one positive thing. Okay, don't look at the chat.
Don't look at the chat.
Don't look at the chat. There was one positive thing that everybody left out in their analysis of this game of a way the Tennessee Titans could win, and this comes from Zedine.
Shout out Zedine.
Just run the plays to get you touchdowns.
There you go, man. That's all you got to do.
And run the plays that stop the other team from doing touchdowns.
I got a guide for Brian Callahan on Stacking the Inbox. I've got all the explosive plays from last year. Just run those, brother.
Just run those.
Just run those. What did Nick Holtz say this week about we're going to send people deep to negate
it was
the pass
like,
rush?
it's to negate the pass rush, and we're going to send people deep. I'm like, dude, Nick Holtz, you can't be just telling people what you're going to do.
Well, also, brother, the protection's still got to hold up for that to
and
work.
You got Dan Moore apparently on a bum ankle, though he's now good to go or whatever. So
I bet he just had a real bad case of the toots.
He had the asinine virus.
Dennis
Kelly had asinine virus for the longest time. We were like, where the fuck is Dennis Kelly? Why is he missing? Because it's just asinine virus.
We need to get him on F words sometime.
Hey, there you go.
I don't know if I don't think he's still in town though.
Last thoughts on this game, because let's do this. Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
A quote of his got really, I think, taken out of or blown out of proportion, though taken at face value, I can see why. Like, I really
Yeah.
don't blame people for taking it for blowing out proportion. But
Well, that's what I did. I saw the
Yeah.
clip, and I immediately texted it to you and said, is this real or is this AI?
yeah, and the clip in question is him talking about Bo Nix, and he said that like the first read, the quote that the video and the quote of it, because what the guy did was like hold the video down, then use it as his own tweet, even though it's Tehran's thing, and he just keeps Tehran's name at the bottom of it, even though he doesn't tag Tehran in the tweet. This is from Broncos Fanatic. Quoted, Bo Nix's first read isn't there. He's going to take off running. That's Jeffrey Simmons. Say you don't know Nix's game without actually saying it. Well, if you actually go to Tehran's tweet says, quarterbacks excelled at finding running lanes and making big gains versus the Titans last season. Jeffrey Simmons spoke about the more coordinated pass rush they've worked on to curb that and get to the quarterback. They'll have to do so versus Bo Nix and the Broncos this week. What I've come to find out about Jeffrey Simmons is that a lot of people want to make fun of Alabama's education system, but maybe we should look at Mississippi State's education system, because this dude can't say what he can't coherently explain what he's really trying to say, because what he's really trying to say,
What we think he's really trying to say.
I mean, I think this is a good, safe assumption based on Tehran's tweet and his answer, is that, hey, last year we got our shit kicked in by running quarterbacks. This year we know that Bo Nix is a threat to run, and he's a decisive runner.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be on our P's and Q's.
They don't call him Bo Wheels for nothing.
There you go. So for me, it's just like, guys,
I'm with you.
It got blown way out of proportion, and that's kind of how Titans Twitter is. And I am, for once, glad that I didn't have the chance to tweet out anything about this and actually talk through it on the radio with Blaine and listen to the clip and find the tweet.
Oh, what did Blaine have to say about it?
And he agrees. He agrees.
Yeah.
At first, he agrees with most everybody else, and then he heard the clip. He goes, let's hear the clip and hear the context. It's hard for me to just sit here and say what he said is wrong without hearing the context.
Sure.
And so I'm very glad to do that, unlike other people who maybe quote tweeted this with some stats that they only found out because of me, and then stole my tweets while I'm on the road, and would have never thought to find these data points and everything without me having to bring it up. But I am very glad that I didn't just harp on it like I usually do, because you know me, I'm going to take the first chance I can to.
Well, how much of this is because of like the Drake May stuff last year and the nobody runs on the Tennessee Titans stuff?
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like not again.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think that. Like, Jeffrey Simmons just needs to become a more generic player.
Yeah.
You answer.
Well, communicator.
You communicator. Just say, looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah.
We're going to be ready. We're on to Cincinnati. Like, the stuff, like, because remember Arden Key and him said, and Ed Henry brings it up, but him and Key said last year that Drake May isn't a running quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
Which I don't know what Drake May's rushing attempts were before that game or anything like that per game versus the league or anything like that. But there also wasn't a lot of tape on Drake May, and I don't know how much film these guys are watching of college Drake May. I mean, they're more focused on NFL stuff, so I don't know. But and I get that if you added it all together, it's very easy to jump to the conclusion because, listen, I'm not here to defend Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, he's the guy that said that he's double teamed on 90% of the plays.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but I'm also going to keep it real and be objective. And unfortunately, the objectivity swings the other way.
There we go. It's a dub for 98 tonight, who I have always said is the best defensive player in football history.
You have said that, and that has aged just as poorly as your Van Jefferson wide receiver one take.
Did you see Drew's comment in the chat?
Yes.
I've never missed a football take and somehow never hit a non-football take.
It's crazy. It's a crazy hit rate.
100% rate both ways.
Okay, so I think we've covered. Is that everything from the Denver Broncos game?
Yeah, I felt like there was one more thing. I just want to make it known Frank Crum is a backup tackle on this Broncos team.
Yeah.
Frank Crum, fucking rules.
And Tyler Steen is getting the start tonight.
Look at that.
The Stoney, I say this a lot, and I'm not just saying it because, he's across from me and we do a lot of work together. The hit rate is very good.
Well, and Tyler Beatty's still on the NFL roster, too.
Here, I'll say it right now. I'm going to say it.
Don't call me an expert.
The hit rate for you is the best in this market from a guy that has 90 followers all the way to a guy that has 30,000 followers.
That's too
best
much.
hit rate in the market.
That's too much. What? Just because I liked Frank Crum and he's still on the NFL
I just
roster?
mentioned the other guys that you've hit on, or one
just
of them.
Don't bring up Jonathan Mingo.
Well, not everybody's got a winner. Some people wanted Jerry Tillery over Jeffrey Simmons.
That's true.
So there you go.
Yeah. Ugh.
Best hit rate in the market, hands down. Nobody's even close.
Can't wait to see the subtweets
Not
off that one.
a single person is close.
Can't wait to see the subtweets off that one.
Hey, boys, real quick before we get out of here.
We're not getting out of here.
we got like an hour
We
more.
got a whole article over here to go through.
Oh, I forget how you do it.
Yeah.
Ross thought he was going to prop his feet up tonight.
He's like, yeah.
This game's coming on soon.
I know. What you got?
I was going to ask if y'all think the Cowboys are going to cover.
I do.
I don't.
I do. The last 12 Super Bowl game openers of the Super Bowl winner that have been, I think, 8 points or 7 points or more, the opponent has covered the spread. They've lost the spread. So I think they're going to cover.
I think the Cowboys
cover.
I think the Cowboys are a sneaky bottoming out team candidate.
I think they are, but I kind of get the sense you were talking about how high you were on the Seagulls defense. Adoree Jackson is starting for them.
Yeah, Adoree Jackson's a good ball player.
Okay, well, there you go. There, Drew. There's your first bad football take. There it is right there.
You know what my conspiracy thing is on Dallas is that I think Dak has regressed tremendously. I think he's washed. I think it's over.
Whoa, you are going to regret that tomorrow morning.
I think it's over for Dak, and I think Schottenheimer is like a lame duck coach.
I do think that. I think they're going to be a big beneficiary of week one liars, though.
I think they're going to.
I feel the Cowboys are week one liars.
I think they're going to suck ass this year, and I think that they're going to fire the coach, and they're going to go get the next quarterback those 2 first-round picks.
Maybe. Okay, you ready for this? Okay, so this article, we're going to run through this article. Fantastic article. Yeah. Okay, this is the only place I can run through this article and not have to stop and explain and all this kind of stuff. This is Stoney is the audience. The people are the audience for this article. This article, the Bust Files, how NFL teams break young quarterbacks. Zach Kiefer wrote this a couple of days ago. And I think there's some interesting takeaways and some nuggets, some quotes, and I think there's some stuff that you can apply to the current Tennessee Titans situation.
Oh, there's tons of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've highlighted, we're not going to read the whole article. I've highlighted the important parts like I usually do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
All the work, so you guys don't have to do a lot.
I read most of the article.
Yeah. I'm talking about the people.
And I got notes.
Yeah.
I just fell asleep. I literally fell asleep reading the article.
So it's a great article. I fell asleep to it.
At my desk, face on the wood. That's what she said.
That's what she said. So Zach Kiefer, for those who may not know, he spells his name totally incorrectly, Z-A-K, but he has covered the Indianapolis Colts for a long time. So he's been around really great quarterbacks. He's been around really bad quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole thing really stems from Kevin O'Connell's comments last year that he thinks franchises fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail franchises.
Yeah, which
at first I'm kind of like, don't know where I land on that. But now after reading all these stories and all this analysis, I'm like, yeah, it's really hard to argue against it. And so the Tennessee Titans are a team that have probably failed young quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't think that's a reach to say at all. And they're in this exact position.
They are in this exact position. So here we go. It's like ultimatums are ultimately handed down, take a quarterback or else. If Richardson, for the Colts, when they drafted Richardson, if Richardson hadn't been available at number 4, which would have meant that he would have had to get shot to the moon or drafted into a war.
Yeah.
Because he was always going to be available at number 4.
Yeah.
If Richardson had been available at number 4, Irsay later admitted the Colts would have taken Kentucky's Will Levis 4th overall.
That's crazy.
Simply because he was the next quarterback on the board.
Just goes to the whole idea that there's a draft and a quarterback draft.
That's true. And he was not taking best player available. He was desperate for a quarterback.
Yes.
We know that Levis instead fell to the second round, was benched after 20 starts in Tennessee, and lost his job to top pick Cam Ward this spring.
But hey, was Richardson over Levis the correct choice?
I would say so.
I would say so too.
Here's what Peyton Manning has to say. I think teams get too afraid of passing on a guy that they think could be special. Even if he's not a fit for them, or he's not ready, or if there's not a great chance that it's going to work, they're still going to draft him high so they could tell their fans, hey, at least we tried.
Yeah. And
that's how Chris Ballard still has a job. At least I tried.
That philosophy gets away from just the basic principle of build a good team.
Right. Teams would give anything to get the right guy, Alex Smith says, who was also a 2005 number 1 overall pick.
Oh, man.
The problem is some of them don't have a clue what they're doing.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy to hear somebody in it that lived it just admit that?
Well, when you go through, and we'll get to the point where you talk about what he had to go through, Alex Smith.
It's crazy.
I knew at the time it was bad, but I also thought, well, Alex Smith has small hands. He kind of sucks.
Oh, man, I love Alex Smith.
But now you look at it when he got paired to the right coach.
I know.
Oh, Alex Smith was pretty good.
Completely different quarterback.
In no other, this quote really stood out to me. In no other American enterprise is the face of an organization routinely a 21 or 22 or 23-year-old fresh out of school thrust into a new city with new bosses and new colleagues and tasked with flipping their fortunes in a little under 2 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you have Aikman and Peyton's quotes in there about if they had had their rookie seasons in today's game?
We'll get there, but I will say this. 7 quarters in his own career, Manning had thrown 6 interceptions, was nervously sneaking glances at his coach on the sideline, worried he was about to get benched. You're dying out there, he says. Another Hall of Famer, Troy Aikman, remains convinced his days in Dallas would have been numbered had the Cowboys not changed offensive coordinators for the first 2 seasons.
Isn't it wild to think, like, back to those 2 guys specifically and their starts, like, what would have happened if they did this in 2024?
Tom Brady would have more Super Bowls.
Yeah. But would we have imagine seeing Peyton Manning or Troy Aikman getting benched?
Yeah. It would be unfathomable at this point.
It is. It's crazy.
So remember what I said about, the 22, 23-year-olds fresh out of school tasked with turning over the fortunes of a company in a little under 2 years. Andrew Luck says, take all that, then pour some gasoline on it. That's the day-to-day, moment-to-moment intensity of what it actually feels like.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck, by the way, he is telling you right then and there, generational prospect, and we'll get to it later, but walks into a culture already established by Peyton Manning where everybody knows what to do, is still telling you that you take all that, then pour some gasoline on it. That's the day-to-day, moment-to-moment intensity of what it actually feels like.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have it highlighted, but Matt Ryan talks about how you're completely overwhelmed.
Yep.
Every minute of every day, you are completely overwhelmed because you go from 12 to 15 hours a week in college to 12 to 15 hours a day in the NFL. And it's such a stark adjustment that, I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy to see it put into perspective like that. I really liked Andrew Luck's quotes in this article.
Yeah, so you got to remember Andrew Luck. Let's see. They went 2-14 before they got Andrew Luck. Just remember, they were 10-6, 12-4, 12-4, 14-2, 12-4, 13-3, 12-4, 14-2, 10-6, 2-14. 11-5 with Andrew Luck as a rookie.
Yeah.
So that tells you about the situation he was realistically walking into.
Mm-hmm.
But you also need to remember they had a playoff berth that year. And this is while head coach Chuck Pagano spent most of the season in the hospital fighting leukemia. Behind closed doors, Luck says he could barely keep his head above water. Again, generational prospect, walked into a great situation with a great culture, barely keep his head above water.
Yeah, that's
Andrew
wild.
Luck admitting that, says Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell, validates everything I've ever thought about the organization. Hold on. Everything I thought about the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Too many organizations are in a hurry, he believes, to decide if their young quarterback is the answer or not. They abandon their plan, or worse yet, don't have one to begin with. They move off one player to chase another, intoxicated by hope, the cycle restarting itself all over again.
Hope is not a strategy.
In what world do you go from wearing a life vest and learning how to swim to being thrown in the deep end in the middle of a 200-meter freestyle pool against Michael Phelps? We decide in this league very quickly whether a guy can or can't play quarterback like it's a simple yes or no. This is the guy or this isn't the guy. Let's either have a parade in the streets or let's move on and try to find another one.
That's how it goes. That's sure how it seems.
That's why he said, I believe organizations fail young quarterbacks before young quarterbacks fail organizations. He goes, Smith says, I don't think I've ever heard it put so well. Certainly not from an active head coach.
Yeah.
Bruce Arians says, he's dead on. No one gives these kids a chance to develop anymore.
Well, and we're starting to see some of the impact of that in guys like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
Yep. Aikman, a 3-time Super Bowl champ now of ESPN's, he agrees, says, if you have to say who fails who the most, it's the team failing the quarterback. And hey, it's easier to find one when you've got one.
Yeah.
Chiefs landing Patrick Mahomes in 2017. Ravens getting Lamar Jackson a year later. They have Alex Smith, who was a 3-time Pro Bowler after being traded to Kansas City in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco's Baltimore career included 6 playoff appearances and a Super Bowl MVP award, and he was elite.
Yeah.
If you're going to draft a guy and sit him, everybody in the building has to buy in, Chris Ballard says, who fucking didn't do that.
No.
You got to withstand the fans clamoring for him to play, and that's a whole lot easier when you've got Alex Smith and you're winning, or Joe Flacco and you're winning. Conversely, when a team needs a quarterback, like the Colts have for years, the pressure heightens. Evaluations are muddied.
Yeah.
They don't become objective.
You're blinded by the potential.
The process is tilted. It's why so many organizations reach in the draft year after year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a pause there. Oh, here. Let's start here. Teams force it, simple as that, says Matt Hasselbeck, a 17-year veteran who retired in 2016. I promise you, some of these owners are just like, man, we need a quarterback who could sell some jerseys. They just want someone who will make them relevant.
Yeah.
So let's pause there because the pressure heightens. Evaluations are muddied. The process is tilted. I don't feel that's how the Titans process worked this year. Thoughts on that?
I agree with that. I feel they were pretty convicted in their love and adoration for Cam Ward. And I think they talked openly early on in the process about interest in trading the pick. And so once they went through their evaluation process and they actually met Cam Ward, I don't think this was a sense of desperation. And if you do take the front office at face value on being patient and rebuilding, installing systems, processes the right way, I don't think it's unreasonable to say they genuinely thought Cam Ward was the best player in this draft.
Yeah. You know, drafting a quarterback as a cure-all is really just intensifies the chaos around it.
Yes.
Peyton Manning says, I hate it. Teams draft these guys without a plan. They all say they have one. Then the kid ends up playing for 3 coordinators in his first 2 seasons. It's like a young couple thinking about bringing a baby into the world. If you're not sure you're ready, just don't do it. Don't be a fool, wrap your tool. That's from Peyton Manning right there.
Right there.
All you Tennessee hillbillies in the mountains of Knoxville.
Yeah, don't know how to wrap your dangle downs.
But, like, he's right. And so I want to take this to the Titans. Is this why we're hearing the vote of confidence behind Brian Callahan? Because they know they're from the Packers and from the Chiefs. They know
Packers
what it takes.
Great example. You look at the Favre to Rodgers pipeline, and then again with the Rodgers to Love pipeline. It's a fantastic model for that organization. I maybe that's what it was. Maybe Chad Brinker was just scrolling Twitter one day and he just saw Kevin O'Connell say organizations fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail organizations. And he thought, my God, this is how we need to build this entire process.
And then he saw Peyton's thing about bringing a baby into the world, and he went and got a vasectomy.
Yes, that's the logical next.
And then he started getting
equation.
all these like condom ads on Twitter, just like everybody in the sound of my voice are going to be scrolling through Instagram and Twitter and getting all these condom ads.
This is we're going to start something else here if we're not careful. Just like the whole Brinker's only using the Titans to get his algorithm off the ground.
Here you go. But they talk about, Chicago's Caleb Williams, Carolina's Bryce Young.
Bryce Young's a great example.
Enter this season on their second head coach, third if you count interims, and third play caller.
Yeah.
So far, all they know is in the NFL is turnover. Now, Dave Canales and I think Bryce Young are going to take a bigger leap together because they've had time. But there's probably a lot of people that could have said, Dave Canales is starting Andy Dalton or benched Bryce Young for Andy Dalton. Maybe this guy is – I would love to have been on the Carolina Panthers radio just to see what they were all saying.
Yeah, I know I'm with you because – I mean, I can remember just being on the periphery of that situation, just catching strays here and there, scrolling Twitter. People were already throwing around the B word with Bryce Young.
Now, here's where things get a little tricky.
Okay. Are you saying that because Jackson just walked
in?
I
just wish a team would admit, okay, we need a quarterback this year, but we're not 100% sure our coach is the right guy, so we're not going to bring him into this. Of course, they always draft the quarterback. Those teams were not ready, he says, of the Bears and Panthers. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
I mean, do you feel the same way about the Titans? Because, I mean, we were big proponents of saying clean house. You got a new quarterback technically coming in. Do you want Brian Callahan as what we perceived at the time as a lame duck head coach? Has your opinion changed with what we have heard coming out of the Titans PR machine?
I don't think he's a lame duck coach any longer.
Okay.
I've commended this offensive scheme so much, and it would be dishonest of me to say I don't see the potential and I don't see the reason why they would retain him. I am kind of surprised that they didn't take the opportunity to reset completely. But I do believe in Brian Callahan's scheme. And from everything we've heard about him directly with the players behind the scenes, I do feel like he's capable of doing this job. And I feel like people in the building, at least from the front office standpoint, I think they want to see it through and give him a fair shot with an upgraded roster. The question for me is whether or not the owner is on board with the front office.
And we'll just never know. The NFL's quarterback developmental problem is what we're kind of talking about here. Matt Hasselbeck cites a disconnect in the scouting phase when the two sides of an NFL building, personnel and coaching, clash in what they value most in a prospect. I'm going to be reading a lot here because I want to get all this in and circle back around to some questions.
Okay. So
because attention. I think this is like some of the best stuff in this article is coming up right now.
Yeah.
Scouts, he says, typically seek elite physical attributes that are unteachable.
Yeah.
Banking on the coaching staff to figure out the rest. Coaches tend to covet more polished players who arrive with a higher floor and need less time acclimating to the pro game. Think of it as builders and realtors, Hasselbeck says. They're in the same business, but they don't always get along, and they don't always value each other's opinions. So the scouts are all excited. This is a combine story from Matt Hasselbeck. So the scouts are all excited. They're asking each other, did you see that throw? And the coach is like, he's holding on to it too long. That's a sack. Interception. Sack. Luck says he wouldn't draft a quarterback without elite processing capacity and humility. Can you make a mistake and not repeat it? And more importantly, can you own up to it? Because that's the job.
Oh, that's so good.
Accuracy over
Red
arm
Hulk watch.
Yeah, accuracy over arm strength for me, Arian says. And are they coachable?
Yeah.
If they do the regular stuff we design, I'm happy. But for some reason, these kids are used to being Superman in college and refuse to throw it away. That's where it gets sideways. Bill
Shots
Parcells says, you want to know if you've got the right guy at quarterback? Don't watch him after he throws 3 touchdowns and wins you the game. Watch him after he throws 3 interceptions and loses it.
Ooh.
For Matt Ryan, he says, the tenets of the job were simple: preparation and consistency. Really good quarterback play is oftentimes making the boring sexy. It's not how far you can throw it. It's making the right decision in critical situations over and over and over. Look for the guys who can do that.
It's not, so size doesn't matter. It's the motion of the ocean.
I just want to say that in reading all of this, you can see where a team went wrong with Will Levis and where a team got it right with Cam Ward.
We're on the same page there. I was thinking the same thing. There's a thread listening to all of these coaches where it's almost as if like the physical traits are actually like completely devalued. Like they're not top of mind for these coaches. And the things that are top of mind are things that we have heard about Cam Ward. So that gets you excited a little bit. We're on Red Hulk watch over here.
Yeah. I mean, because when you really look at it over here, I mean, you're talking about, I think what you see with Cam Ward on tape isn't like, did you see that throw?
Yes, it is. I fell for that. Yeah, that was part of the reason I think I was a little lower on him to start the process. Was like, you know, I think a lot of this stuff is not very special from like a traits athletic standpoint. But then you watch stuff like the Wake Forest game, and it's like, okay, here's this puzzle of a defense. They do the 4-2-5 at Wake Forest, and he's got to figure out where everybody's at in real time. You see the mental, the processing, the calmness, that sort of thing. It's not sexy. It is not splash plays, but he got that done. And that's why I think that game was just as impressive as any other game that I watched.
And what did Brian Callahan preach all offseason last year? I don't remember. 80% of quarterback play is boring.
Yes. Okay.
It's about mastering the mundane.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
Bill Parcells is telling you, watch him after he throws 3 interceptions and loses it. Well, we've kind of seen that from both sides of Cam Ward.
We have.
You know, accuracy over arm strength. Because, I mean, he's got the arm strength where it matters. You go look at Bo Nix, right?
Exactly.
Cam Ward's kind of similar to Bo Nix in that arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
In that when he's in between the seams, they can skyrocket it in there.
Yeah. Watch them fingers.
But for some reason, these kids are used to being Superman in college, refuse to throw it away.
Yeah.
We saw that.
Yeah. And that is such good shit.
So to me, it's like, okay, I can see it because scouts get so enamored with the physical. They view it as, let's draft this guy. Our coaches can get the best out of him.
Yeah.
Even though our coaches hate him. Vince Young.
Yeah, that's exactly, what I was going to say. People in the building are pretty divided.
Right. You know, here's a quote from Aikman. Coaches say they're going to build their offense around what the quarterback does well. Only a few actually do it.
That was something else I wanted to ask you about.
Because that goes back to our conversations where we've had about Brian Callahan, where I felt that he was a little at fault.
I would agree.
Aikman's argument, let's pick it off after this. Too many coaches are too rigid in their approach, refusing to shape their system around their quarterback skill set. Building an infrastructure that will allow the quarterback to grow into the job after he arrives. Because it's not as simple about finding the right quarterback in the draft. It's about building that infrastructure. I get the sense, and me and Blaine have talked this a few times, I get the sense that this team had a preconceived notion of the players that they had, and all these players will fit our system. It didn't turn out that way, and they decided not to course correct.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
A lot of times these owners, Aikman says it starts at the top.
Ooh.
A lot of these times these owners don't even know what they should be looking for in a coach.
Ooh.
And if you don't have the right head coach and the right offensive coordinator, you're not giving the quarterback a real chance. Aikman speaks from experience. Twice during his 12-year run in Dallas, he played in what he calls a high school passing attack, and it irritates him to this day.
Damn.
Alex Smith, let's talk about him. Joined the 49ers and was told that he couldn't run the football. This is after he thrived in Urban Meyer's spread option attack at Utah, piling up 15 rushing touchdowns in his last 2 seasons there. Then he joined the 49ers. Hey, can't run the football.
They told him specifically you
told
cannot
him.
run the football.
You cannot run the football.
Crazy.
In college, Smith lived in the shotgun. His rookie year in San Francisco, he's ordered to take every snap under center. I had to ask the coaches permission to get in shotgun on third down.
Who was that?
How insane is that? Is what he says.
Was that Mike Nolan era?
I
or
believe
was that Mike Singletary?
No, I believe that was Mike Nolan.
Okay, because he was a pretty notoriously rigid guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna
And
pull
he
it
ain't
up
in the
real
NFL anymore, as far as I know. So
I don't think so. I think he's maybe a defensive coordinator somewhere.
I thought he was in the XFL.
This was Mike Nolan, but his offensive coordinator was Mike McCarthy.
Oh,
So it's a double Mike.
got them 2 mics.
Got them 2 mics.
That's spicy.
It took until the middle of his second season and the arrival of an aggressive offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, the same coach who saved Aikman's career.
Norv Turner. Shout out.
Then, 10 games in, Turner called him into his office and told him the offense was changing. Again, I don't agree with this, Turner told him. And this was, again, Mike Nolan's team still. But the head coach told me we need to shorten the game and take some pressure off the defense. People don't understand that kind of shit goes on all the time.
Yeah.
The head coach comes in and says, told me we need to shorten the game and take some pressure off the defense.
That sucks. If you're Alex
So
Smith,
the 49ers were going back to
sucks.
being a run-first team.
Oh.
Smith was crushed. Every possession was run, pass, he says. Do you know how hard it is in the NFL to throw it on third down when the defense knows you're throwing it? Finally, 7 years into Smith's NFL career, by the way. I didn't know Alex Smith had been in the league for 7. It doesn't really dawn on you the length of time sometimes. 7 years before Jim Harbaugh showed up in San Francisco. And they gave him the green light. He goes, Harbaugh asked, why don't you ever run it? You were great at it in college. Smith told him, because I'm never allowed to.
That's crazy.
He was for so long, I was just totally lost.
Somebody deserves a bare-ass spanking over that.
I tell you.
Somebody needs to see the belt over that. That is egregious.
Smith points to Andy Reid, and this is where some good stuff. And I'm going to have to tell Blaine this stuff because he loves Andy Reid just as much as we do.
I love Andy Reid.
But
yeah.
He's like, Andy Reid as the best in the league at tailoring his system to his quarterback strengths. The Chiefs' offense he ran, for example, is completely different than the one Mahomes pilots now. Andy doesn't just know a playbook. When a coach just knows a playbook, he spends his whole career looking for players who fit that playbook. Yep. And when they don't fit, it's never going to work because the coach can't adapt.
Yeah.
It brings me a little bit to last year.
I know where you're going with that.
Yeah. Everyone's all over this. So Arians took issue with the criticism of Bryce Young last year. Everyone's all over this kid because he's struggling. Well, he's a rookie. This is, of course, the rookie year, I guess. He's supposed to struggle, and nobody mentions that he had better receivers when he was at Alabama.
That's a burn.
He's a rookie.
Yeah.
This is for you Titans fans. He's a rookie. He's supposed to struggle.
Bruce Arians, the man himself. That is who you said that,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
You were looking at me, and I was like, oh, God, did I
I was
mishear?
hoping maybe you'd say a little bit more, but
Well, no, that's from Bruce Arians.
it's from Bruce
What can
Arians.
I say that Bruce Arians cannot?
Team culture matters too. Now, here's where we get into with the Tennessee Titans a little bit.
Yeah.
And here we get literally with the Tennessee Titans because here's the story from Matt Hasselbeck when he joined the Tennessee Titans. I'll never forget what the media relations director told me the first day I was there.
Oh, man.
And I'm assuming the media relations director would be who's the guy that just got fired or chose to leave because he didn't want to take the other position. Oh, crap. The PR director.
Robbie
Bourne. So I'd assume this is Robbie Bourne. But
Man.
I'll never forget what the media relations director told me on the first day I was there. He's like, hey, thanks for showing up on time today. I was like, when else would I get here? I'm the starting quarterback. But it sort of shows you what they'd experienced before.
Matt Hasselbeck's so real for that.
Hasselbeck remembers wanting to throw after practice and being startled at how unnecessarily difficult the task was. I had to go to the equipment room, which was locked, and bang on the cage for 10 minutes. They only have 3 guys working, and they're working their tails off, and I ask, is it okay if I borrow a football to go through? And they're like, yeah, hold on, it'll be a few minutes. Make sure you bring it back.
Matt, you're saying this to Matt fucking Hasselbeck?
Matt Hasselbeck, the QB1.
Golly.
2 years later, Hasselbeck landed in Indianapolis as Luck's backup. His first week there, Luck summoned his receivers for some post-practice throwing. Within minutes, Hasselbeck says, the entire building knew. A bag of football set waiting for them on the field. Equipment manager stood in position. The video team was ready to record. Trainers had water bottles filled. The wake
Standard.
Peyton left, there's a standard in every building, whether it's function or dysfunction, he says, and usually you can tell right away.
Well, that's sad.
Cam Ward,
We're Titans fans. That's sad.
well, but Cam Ward, this kind of feels a little bit more Will Levis-esque,
Yeah.
the beginning of it.
Cabo.
Second is, okay, this is where Cam Ward kind of is different.
Maybe he's the culture changer.
Well, that is what everybody is
He
kind of
sets the
saying.
standard. Yeah.
What time does he go there? I mean, how many times do we have to hear about him fucking getting there at like 5 a.m?
Yeah, he's probably
Now
there
we
right
have
now.
to hear about post-game rituals every time. What do you listen to? What movie did you watch today?
Yeah.
You know, that stupid shit that doesn't fucking matter. I will
did
say that
think
he
it
is.
was cool that he sits in silence.
Well, I was about to say that means he's a real psycho.
I was about to say, I also like to sit in silence before.
You are a real psycho. And Luck said, like, having to fill Peyton's shoes, that never bothered me. He says, the other was the infrastructure is already in place. The Colts building was set up for a quarterback to have success. For 14 years, Manning made certain of it. The
Man.
Titans haven't had that quarterback.
No, they haven't.
You can even go back to McNair because of how unceremoniously that all ended.
Yeah.
And the Titans have had a hard time recovering from that. And then you go to Vince Young, and Vince Young is nothing like Cam Ward. I mean, that's the whole Matt Hasselbeck and company was after the whole Cam Ward or Vince Young stuff.
I will say in conversations.
Jalen Carter apparently already got ejected.
Is water wet? Is a bear
He
shit in
spit
the
on
woods?
Dak Prescott.
I told y'all Dak Prescott was washed. He's already getting spit on. I will say from conversations that I've had off the record with people,
Can you say an off the record something after you've had with people?
Yeah, maybe not.
Well, I mean, it's too late now. You've already started down
Well,
that
no,
road.
you're right. I shouldn't say it.
Nope, go ahead and do it.
From conversations, yeah, I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, you're not getting who are they actually listening?
No, probably not.
Okay.
I will make this assessment then. How about that?
Okay.
This is my assessment based on conversations that I've had. I have heard that it has been much more of Matt Hasselbeck's experience throughout the years.
Yeah. I can see that.
And I wonder, after reading that, if part of this overhaul in culture that Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi and Brian Callahan have all talked about this offseason is not just about the players on the field.
Yeah.
And it is getting better at stuff like that, because I don't think that I think there's a lot more people that have had that similar experience.
I would agree. And I think that the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a real, you can say that Vrabel set his own standard, but I don't think there was a standard for quarterbacks. I think it was just a universal standard.
Yeah. And that's like, you're also like, you're winning games.
Yeah. So you think the standard you have is good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you start losing and you realize, oh, well, shit, it's not. Part of the reason why so many quarterbacks struggle early on, according to Matt Ryan, the workload is absurd. It's a gauntlet. The 4 hours a day you spend on football in school
That's what I was
are not the 14 or 15 you spend on it in the NFL. There's a repetitiveness that can just grind you down. And I need to say this part to Blaine. Plus, as Ryan points out, there are no Ball States on your schedule.
Ooh, man.
to go drop by Blaine.
Yeah.
That's where the team must step in, O'Connell says. It's on the general manager to ensure there's a veteran quarterback on the roster.
That's another thing I wanted to
It's
ask you about.
on the veteran quarterback to show the rookie what each workday should look like.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the position coach to teach him how to diagnose film. It's on the coordinator to make sure he's not overwhelmed in training camp.
Yeah.
Then, O'Connell says, comes the most essential part, coaching them through failure. But let's go through on this. General manager to ensure there's a veteran quarterback on the roster. Literally, yes. Technically, yes.
A veteran, yeah.
But not the kind you want.
At least in games.
But is it the right veteran quarterback to show the rookie what each workday should look like? Because that's what we've kind of said is like Will Levis can push you on the field. Brandon Allen can push you maybe off the field.
And I feel like from everything we've heard,
that has to be it.
That is what they want Brandon Allen there for.
Yeah. That seems, and someone says it later on down here, but it's almost like a backup quarterback that you think is, I think they were talking about Case Keenum or lean into Case Keenum, and I think we'll get there here shortly, but like a backup quarterback that you think is a position, could be a quarterback's coach.
Yeah, they take coaching guys that they think are going to be coaching football.
Yeah.
And,
like
and
a Davis Webb. Like everybody talks about
Yeah.
Davis Webb right now
Mm-hmm.
and how great of a quarterback's coach he is. Well, he's only 30 and he was a pretty shitty backup.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they should just go ahead and hire Brandon
I
Allen
agree.
as a coach and then go get
But then it's
somebody
on the
else.
position coach to teach him how to diagnose film. Caleb Williams didn't even know how to fucking watch film last year because this Chicago Bears thing was so bad. It's on the coordinator to make sure he's not overwhelmed in training camp. It's not on the coordinator to design plays or draw plays, but he's there to make sure that, hey, are you overwhelmed? What do we need to do? And so I go back and I look at Stoney's. That comment's apparently not already aging well. Who do you throw it to?
I don't know. It's week 1.
Okay.
He's
but
the healthiest he'll be all season.
But, like, Nick Holtz gets a lot of hate in many chats.
Yeah, he does. And I still think it's the
But
funniest
if you
thing.
listen to what Nick Holtz, Bo Hardiger, and Cam Waterval said, they're constantly communicating.
Yeah.
It sounds like outside of maybe the quality of the veteran quarterback, if he were to be called on to play, they checked all those boxes.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that.
O'Connell says, I've thought a lot about this, and I've realized the most important part of a quarterback's development is when it doesn't go right. When there are growing pains, when there are struggles, that's when you have to buckle up and put on your big boy pants as a coach. You have to have a
A what?
a clear-cut plan on how you're going to improve, what film to watch, what drills to do, how to measure progress, even if it's really small. It's our job as coaches to look inward first and exhaust every resource possible to get these guys to play like the best version of themselves. I'm not sure. I'm not in the building, but I would have a hard time saying that the big boy pants came on at the right time last season.
Yeah.
Is that a little too rough? of an analysis.
I don't think so.
I think it is now. I think he looked inward in the offseason.
Yeah.
But that doesn't do you a lot of good last year.
No, I would agree with that.
Oh, Javonte Williams punched it in. God.
How is has Grant Calcaterra caught a touchdown yet? Because that's my anytime touchdown bet
so.
tonight.
Damn
it.
Smith didn't get any of that in San Francisco. Through 4 head coaches and 7 offensive coordinators, he went from running between 20 and 25 concepts out of 3 formations at Utah to a 49ers playbook that had 115 different play calls on it each week. Then his playbook changed and changed and changed every offseason for 7 years. It's like trying to learn Spanish, then Portuguese, then French, then Japanese.
Man.
His confidence vanished. He came to dread home games. He didn't even think that he started to wonder how long it would take the organization to realize they made a massive mistake.
He was me playing flip cup.
I didn't even know what an NFL quarterback was supposed to look like, he said.
Damn.
I had no idea what the preparation was supposed to look like from Monday to Sunday. For so long, I was totally lost. Of course, his that can't not be his backup quarterback. Who in the world was the backup quarterback there?
For who?
The San Francisco 49ers. Give me 1 second.
Oh, my phone just died, so I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. The backup quarterback was... No.
What?
This can't be right.
We're dying with anticipation here.
According to Pro Football Reference, they have a list of 94 players that were on the roster for the 2006 San Francisco 49ers, his second year. He's the only quarterback listed.
Oh, no.
I mean, I have never seen anything like it.
Weren't there some years that, like, Sean Hill was there with him?
That's what I thought, but...
Or,
he had Tim Rattay and Ken Dorsey's, who I remember, and Cody Pickett were his guys in 2015. And then the next season, he played all 16 games, but there's not even a guy on the roster listed.
Man.
2007, that's when he got Trent Dilfer and Sean Hill and Chris Winkie. I mean, they had guys.
QB room.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's kind of crazy. All guys that were kind of like on their way out.
Yeah.
Hasselbeck says the quarterback room matters a ton. Like in Green Bay, I was the first backup to Brett Favre, who was younger than him.
Yep.
And that was 8 years into his career. Before me, they just surrounded him with older guys they thought would be future coaches. That wasn't an accident.
Oh, there you go.
The first time that there was a backup quarterback younger than Brett Favre was Matt Hasselbeck 8 years into his career.
8 years into his career. That's the model.
There's so much value in that, Smith says, talking about Case Keenum in Houston and Chicago, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams. Case is great at preparing. He's competitive as hell. It'll be so great for Caleb to be around that every day.
When did
Manning and Aikman are convinced had they played in today's era, the Rocky rookie season would have earned them a spot on the bench.
Yeah, and that's where it's like it is kind of a crazy perspective to think about that. Is that do we have a pause here?
A little bit, if you want one.
I just think it's interesting that you and I have had conversations about how Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have kind of ruined scouting in a way because of their traits and the success that they've seen. I think people boil down their successes far too much, and they just equate it to, well, we can take a flyer on the Anthony Richardson because he's got the traits. He's got the better traits than anybody at the quarterback position before. But I also think it's interesting in the context of this article to go back even further to the class that had Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco in it when both of those guys started right away. It was kind of on the precipice of this swing in how teams approach their rookie quarterbacks. It was happening in the early 2000s, obviously, but it wasn't just we're taking wild swings at these quarterbacks and, throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. When Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco join the Falcons and the Ravens respectively, and they go out there and guide those teams to the playoffs, their rookie season, Joe Flacco is at the helm for the Ravens' run to the AFC Championship. That was the year, just to twist the knife for no fucking reason at all, that was the year that the Titans probably should have won the Super Bowl, but they were ousted by the Ravens in the playoffs. But from that point forward, it was a similar sort of thing to what we were talking about with Mahomes and Josh Allen, but in a different light. It was, you've got to start these guys early because, hey, Flacco and Ryan were prepared. Like, there's no need to stash guys on the bench. Let's start getting guys in quicker. And so that is kind of compounded a few years later when you do get the guys like Mahomes and Allen. So now it almost seems like this idea of getting a quarterback that plays the position from the neck up, that has the confidence to sustain failure and keep moving, and the guys that are like accurate and experienced and that sort of things. It does kind of feel like that's been so watered down even before Mahomes and Allen that we've lost sight of the fact that you can build around those guys too.
Well, I think that takes us into the next part, so that's a good little pause, because Ballard wishes he'd resisted that pressure and kept Richardson on the bench as a raw 21-year-old rookie. Instead, the team let his talent cloud its judgment. There's an expectation, Ballard says. Draft a quarterback high, and the clock starts. The Colts didn't make Richardson earn the job. Didn't make him prove he was ready for the role. The quarterback competition they staged with Gardner Minshew that August was a sham, despite Zach Kiefer saying the contrary when all that stuff was going on. But I digress. Indianapolis Colts beat writers are the worst. And it's a decision Ballard now regrets. Richardson injured his throwing shoulder 4 games in and was shelved for the year. He lost more than playing time since he was away from the building. Richardson didn't get the chance to build the daily habits needed to start in the NFL. A year later, his preparation slipped, his coaches noticed. Some teammates, too. He was drowning, Ballard later admitted. Richardson was benched. Extremely talented, good kid. He just doesn't know yet. Smith says he's seen it play out too many times. Teams preach patience, but can't help themselves. They have the shiny new toy, and they can't wait to unwrap it, and so often it's the wrong decision. Unwrapping that toy too early comes with serious risk, especially if the piece around the quarterbacks aren't in place. It often starts with the offensive line. Young quarterbacks playing under duress develop bad habits, and those habits can be hard to break. Scars, Arian calls them, and some of these guys never get those scars off. Smith saw it watching Williams' tape last season in Chicago. The Bears rookie was sacked a league-high 68 times. Before him, it was Zach Wilson in New York. Before Wilson, it was Sam Darnold in New York. The Jets just threw both of them in there right away, crossed their fingers, and hoped for the best. They didn't have a plan. They didn't have any patience. Jets would later admit their biggest mistake with Wilson was not giving him any real competition for the starting job as a rookie. The coaching staff lost faith in him. So there's 2 things in there that really apply for the Tennessee Titans. They invested in the offensive line.
They did.
You could say that Will Levis started with Vrabel behind a bad offensive line. Bad habits developed. He got in behind another bad offensive line. Those bad habits kept going and maybe even got exasperated.
On top of learning a new system.
Yeah, on top of learning a new system. And you would then maybe the big mistake here for the Titans, even though they invest in the offensive line, is not giving him any real competition for the starting job as a rookie.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll put a pin in that.
When I started out, there weren't some talking heads ripping me on TV 24/7, Aikman says. Now you've got it all day on every sports channel, and the owners are listening to this, the GMs are listening to this, and the coaches are seeing it too. There's just so much more these guys have to learn how to handle. Used to be the newspapers, right? Hasselbeck says. An owner or coach would make a decision based on something they read in the newspaper. Now people are making depth chart decisions based on their social media feed.
That's crazy. Do you think we've ever impacted a decision?
I would assume so. Yeah. I don't know what they are, but I would think so. Because there's many times where we say they must be listening, as a joke.
The Titans brought back John Ojukwu.
I have no doubt that actually happens, Hasselbeck says. We know it happened with New York, right? I mean, they did it all on Madden and social media. All of which can leave you a young quarterback, in Aikman's word, in a really dark place. Like Young was as a rookie in Carolina, like Williams last season in Chicago, like so many Jets quarterbacks over the years. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. Doesn't matter how much success you had in college. For the real competitors, if you're struggling and the offense is a mess and the team is losing, you're absolutely miserable, much like your Flip Cup experience.
Much like my Flip Cup experience.
Manning says he remembers wanting the coaches to bench him during his second game, a 28-7 loss to the Patriots. He threw 3 picks in the first 3 quarters, and his confidence was shaken. I didn't want to end the day with 5 or 6, Manning said, but they didn't bench me. You're staying in, his head coach Jim Mora told him on the sideline of the day. We're not going to win this game, but you need to figure some things out.
I love that man.
The Colts had a plan, one handed down by general manager Bill Polian before the season. Don't let 18 get hit, period. He knew if Manning wasn't getting the crap beat out of every week, eventually the light would come on.
Start to click.
It meant reworking the offense, keeping 2 tight ends in the block, fewer receivers open downfield, and inevitably more interceptions. Because fewer receivers downfield means less options, means easier for the defense.
Yep.
But slowly, the staff began to coach Manning through his early struggles. I had to tell him a million times, the punter was his friend, Bruce Arians, Manning's first position coach, remembers. One thing the quarterback remains grateful for, and this is where we're going to end on it, the staff never blinked.
Oh, it doesn't sound like this staff has blinked so far.
Well, we haven't been through the hard times yet.
But, hey, to come full circle on this, we're going to get an opportunity to face the hard times pretty early on in this season with these 2 defenses to start the year. And we'll see how they're able to coach through it. I am curious. I don't know off the top of my head what the situation was like, but I wonder if the Denver Broncos, if you remember – maybe off the top of your head, I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Was there a temptation for them to dip into that 2023 class? It seems like I remember some story about them potentially trading up for maybe Stroud, but they held off and opted to participate in the 2024 class. I might be getting my teams mixed up.
I don't think that was them.
Was it not them?
And you may be confusing the Sean Payton story of him wanting to trade up for Patrick Mahomes and nobody would let him.
Maybe that's where I'm tying. I felt like there was a team that it was rumored wanted to trade up for one of the quarterbacks, but opted to wait. And I was just kind of curious to tie that to this conversation. Like,
I don't know if it was Denver or not. Because they just paid Russell Wilson $200-something million. So I don't know if they would be.
Yeah, you're right.
Would have
That's
been
who it was. I was thinking, I thought they had a veteran in there somewhere, but they ended up being better for waiting until 2024 and getting Bo Nix. But
Joe Kane says, same thing will likely happen to Cam once the old-ass offensive line starts getting hurt and rookie linemen start replacing them. The offensive line is the 15th youngest in the NFL.
Some hating right there.
I don't know where they only have one old guy. Everybody else is under 20. Yeah. Or under 30. The only old guy is
Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah. Because Cush isn't 30 yet, right?
I thought I don't think so.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 28.
Final thoughts on anything before we wrap this thing up?
Final thoughts on anything? Alabama should fire Kalen DeBoer and go hire Josh Heupel.
I like it. Didn't get any reaction out of
we're on
Jackson.
We're on mute in there.
Final. I will say final thoughts for me are they should definitely fire Kalen DeBoer and just hire anybody other than Tommy Rees.
Yeah. What if they what is Jim Mora doing these days?
Isn't he dead?
Is he?
I don't know. We're talking about Jim Moore Sr., not Jim Moore, the former Falcons head coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did he die? That's going to ruin my day.
I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know.
Shit, man.
I will say this.
My
Tyler
phone's
Kitt.
dead. I can't even check it.
Tyler Kitts, what's your guys' Super Bowl predictions? I got Packers over Chargers.
I'm boring as fuck. I'm going Ravens, Eagles.
Well, he said he's got Packers, Ravens, but he didn't tell us who's winning. There you go.
Okay.
All right, that will do it for us. It's been Football and Other F Words, and you have just been effed.